headlined by Derrick Lewis taking on Tallison Teixeira. And I don't want to beat this drum too much, but I do have to just keep saying, the man came in. You got a big knockout win over Justin Tafa, and that elevates you to now fight Derrick Lewis. So either the Lewis fall off needs to be studied, or Teixeira is the second coming of Stefan Struve right here. Elbows, nasty jiu-jitsu, walks forward. Again, tall. I think those are the intangibles right here. Of course, there's a couple other notes that I have here, but how does he beat Derrick Lewis, and how does he propel himself into the top 10 of the heavyweight division?
I think Teixeira needs to be technically proficient in this, because one thing I love about Teixeira, man, he brings the fight, right? Good kicks from the outside. He's going to be pushing that pace, throwing combos, willing to work multiple different ways to win. But if you're pushing too hard against Derrick Lewis, that knockout, the one style we were saying is still kind of always hunted for Derrick Lewis, that big knockout can come. And Derrick Lewis is very tricky when he throws those punches, because it'll be out of nowhere, leaping with a bunch of explosion. So if Teixeira is able to stay technical, stay strong, and really not get lulled into kind of going back and forth on exchanges, that's going to be his best path to victory that I think.
Yeah, man. Here, I'm going to share my screen really quickly just so we can kind of get an idea of what the recent Derrick Lewis run has looked like. And let's just look at all of the losses that you see right here. They're all good guys, man. Tai Tuivasa, Cyril Gane, Pavlovich, Spivak, Almeida. They're all good guys. A lot of these guys here, because when he loses, man, like, he's getting knocked out. This is a killer be killed style fight, 100%. But I'm not seeing anything on Tallison Teixeira's side that matches this. So my question here is, if you look at Teixeira, never been outside of the first round, which is like, yo, kudos to you, because you're making quick work of these guys, but you also only have 8 fights at the same time. So when you look at that, do you see, all right, if he can be a front runner and he can back Derrick Lewis up, because we know Lewis is a little too prone to just back to the cage, waiting for that big counter shot, and if he doesn't get it, gets swarmed, just shows up, and that's the fight, unfortunately. If that front-running style doesn't happen and it turns into like a slowed-down fight over the course of maybe a couple of rounds, let's just say, what do you predict of Teixeira? It's just an unknown. We don't know.
It is just an unknown, Derrick, but if you watch how his fights go and you watch the style he has, he is composed in there. He does know how to be a technically sound fighter, and I think he'll be able to not necessarily outpoint Derrick Lewis, but be able to slow him down enough to where that slower style of fight can be advantageous for Teixeira, especially with the long range he has as well, being able to just control him at distance.
Yeah, long jab. Like I said, knees and elbows. We did see who finished Lewis with the elbows. Was it who did he lose to? Tai Tuivasa. It was Tai Tuivasa, actually. Got him up against the cage and finished him with the elbow. So he is susceptible to it. I don't know if we're going to see any flying knees out of Derrick Lewis this time. But the other thing that makes Teixeira an interesting prospect is some of the ground game, some of his jiu-jitsu, which I do not think will particularly be a factor here against Derrick Lewis. If you look at Teixeira in his frame, long and tall, but doesn't particularly look big. And don't get me wrong when I say that, like 6'7", you're a huge guy, but you know what I mean, man. Like, of course, you had the Almeida, who's just pure muscle, who's able to actually take him down, and a rare athletic freak in the heavyweight division. Spivak, like these big dudes. I don't know if Teixeira will be able to use that, or even if he'll entertain any of the grappling. So that's really my last piece before we jump into the actual numbers here. Do you see a grappling path for Teixeira? Is that even a wise move from your film breakdown?
Oh, wise move, Derrick. I mean, it's always interesting to see Derrick Lewis' ground game get tested, especially as of late. He's doing a lot better at just maintaining takedown defense, getting up when he can, doing the right things when he needs to. So at the moment, I really don't think so. But I mean, you're going up against one-touch KO power all day long. It's hard to say that wrestling this guy, getting him down to the ground, nullifying him that way is not the smartest thing to do, because it's always an option against Derrick Lewis.
Unless he just stands up, because jiu-jitsu is not real, right? I don't know. Shout out to the Black Beast. Listen, man, when we get to the numbers, this is where things get interesting. The total on this one, 1.5 rounds, plus 148 for the over, minus 190 for the under. All of these numbers, again, are being tracked on FanDuel right here, so you can bet wherever you are, except if you were in Vegas like me. We got to go to other sports books, but everywhere else in the country, you should be good to go. AJ, they love this under, minus 190, but like I said, somebody's got to go out quickly. And again, when I just take a look, you're seeing, for Lewis, there was a big streak of first round, second rounds, but the last two, third round for Rodrigo Nascimento and the fifth round for Jailton Almeida, went to a decision. Can Teixeira, if that's the guy you're betting for, get it done in one? Are you taking that under?
I am taking that under, Derrick. And genuinely, I think with the style that Teixeira presents, because he's not like the Jailton Almeidas or the Rodrigo Nascimentos who are willing to drag this out in a ground style of fight. He's exciting. I think it's going to be a striking battle, and I think one of these guys is going to sleep before that 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks with the money line right here. Minus 265 for Teixeira, plus 225 comeback for Derrick Lewis. Listen, it's a heavyweight fight, folks. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but there's not too much analysis you could put into this one. I'm going to fade Tallison Teixeira right here. I am going to take the over on the 1.5 rounds, and I'm also going to rock with the Black Beast at plus money right here. This is not in good faith betting on Derrick Lewis. Instead, this is seeing Teixeira not quite being ready for that spotlight, and again, getting thrust in this spot after a victory over Justin Tafa. To me, you haven't done enough. I need to see it. You beat Derrick Lewis convincingly. All right, you're the guy. But I'm going to fade, and I'm going to go Derrick Lewis. Somebody's got to put some respect on the Black Beast name. AJ, how you finishing this one out?
Folks, don't overlook it, man, because we saw what happened last week with the Benny Dariush fight, and Derrick calls sometimes, but man, I'm rocking Teixeira. I'm rocking with the favorite right here. I think on paper, the biggest challenge that Teixeira is going to face is exactly what Derrick's talking about, and it's that spotlight. I think it might be, sometimes those lights get a little too big, especially when you're facing down with the Black Beast. He's going to beat his chest down and hump the ground if you get knocked out. So there's a lot of pressure for this, but I still like Tallison Teixeira. I'm taking him by KO.
All right, and that's your main event for UFC Nashville. But again, folks, I said that might be one of the most lackluster fights on this main card.